So listen, I wanted to mention, you said, hey, if AEW is even around a year from now, just a quick Google search. It looks like Paramount has a market cap of 9.7 billion. Not saying he would, but hypothetically, you could just buy the thing. I mean, that's the level of wealth we're talking about. I think AEW is going to be around as long as Tony and his father want it to
No,
be.
it'll be around, but there's no guarantee that it doesn't matter how much money you have. If your business is dependent upon television and you can't get television, yeah, it'll still be around because money's not an issue. It doesn't matter to Tony Khan, evidently, presumably. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to continue to pay talent at the level you're currently paying talent. If you don't have television to support it, if you don't have that revenue coming in and you're producing a show for YouTube, yeah, you're still around, but it doesn't mean you're playing at the same level or being able to pay at the same level.
Well, we know for sure that Mr. Khan has shelled out some Moné for Mercedes Mone, the former Sasha Banks, allegedly is AEW bound. She's going to be making a big splash, according to the rumor and innuendo, in the month of March. There's been lots of speculation that they've been eyeing a date in Boston, and what a place to make a big debut. And it made me think about the good old days of the Monday Night Wars. Whenever you would see someone jump from one promotion to another, Sean Waltman comes to mind. When he debuted on Monday Night Raw, or returned to the WWF on Monday Night Raw, I should say, he cut a quote unquote shoot promo on you and Hulk Hogan and WCW and got everybody talking. And I wonder, given the way she left WWE and what's gone on recently in WWE, do you expect her to channel her inner MJF and cut a promo that gets quite a bit of buzz for AEW?
I hope not, because it will hurt her. It will continue to hurt AEW because that formula is obviously not working. It's not the first time we've heard people cutting promos on WWE and talking about the other company. It was so prevalent early on. It's one of the reasons I came out a couple of years ago and said, Tony, shut up and wrestle. Just do your own shit. Quit trying to make it sound like you're in a battle with the WWE, because you're not. You're on the sidelines. You're like that obnoxious little fuck on the side of the road, trying to pick a fight with cars that are passing by. Well, you're never gonna really be in a fight, so you can mouth off all you want. And it didn't work. It got everybody's attention initially, and everybody got on board because there was so much goodwill. Everybody was looking for that Monday Night Wars kind of vibe. Everybody was hoping that we're going to revisit that vibe from the mid and late 90s. But you can't, because AEW and Tony Khan didn't go head to head. It's like me sitting in my living room, talking about how I could, kick Brock Lesnar's ass. Well, I can talk all that shit I want when I'm sitting in my living room, but if I was face to face with him, it wouldn't work out so well for me. So that kind of shooting on the competition only works if you're really in competition, not on the sidelines where it's warm and fuzzy and safe. It actually hurt AEW, just like I predicted it would.
Well, now,
because
it used to do that.
I was head to head, for God's sake. There's a little bit of a difference. Can you not fucking see the difference between being a little dwarf punk on the sidelines, calling people out, telling everybody you're kicking their ass and you're in competition when you're really not? Now, I was actually competing head to head. I started my show 3 minutes before WWE did because I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity. I used my resource. I had the resources to do that. At the time, WWE didn't. So I took advantage of that resource. Why? Because I was head to head. When I called Vince McMahon out to a fight as a result of that shoot promo, by the way, that Sean Waltman cut, I did it because I was head to head. It was a real competition, not a cosplay competition, which is a perfect word for it. And it's been the perfect word for what Tony Khan's strategy about calling out the competition is. It's fucking cosplay. And it worked early on when there was all of this goodwill. But Tony Khan has shit the bed so many times in so many different ways over the last 4 years that nobody has any faith in him anymore. or calling people out doesn't have the impact that it could have and would have if they were actually head to head. I hope she doesn't do it, Mercedes. I hope she doesn't, because it will hurt her. One of the criticisms I had early on, CM Punk, when the first thing he did was when he came out to try to get himself over, he starts taking shots at Hulk Hogan. That's what you're going to do to get over on your first night out? You're going to cut a dirt sheet Dave Meltzer fucking geek promo on a guy you've never met or work with because you want to endear yourself to the internet wrestling community and the Dave Meltzer universe? That was such a cheap, low-hanging fruit bullshit move that, in my opinion, at that time, it exposed Punk for what he really is on his own with a mic. That was weak as fuck. And if she comes out and does the same thing, I'm going to have the same opinion. And the difference is Punk is actually pretty decent at cutting promos. Actually could be very, very good if he's got the right material and a little bit of guidance. We've seen that. I don't recall ever hearing Mercedes Mone cut a promo. And if she has, no, I'm not saying that derisively. I just don't remember ever hearing one. Now, maybe you have. You watch more closely than I do. I don't watch wrestling like a fan. I watch it.
I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying, listen, man, in WWE, you don't get to go out there and just shoot from the hip. I mean, I guess if you're The Rock, you can, or Stone Cold or whatever. But most of the time in WWE, a producer comes over and hands you 3 sheets of dialogue and says, hey, you got 3 hours, memorize the shit, see you in a little while. And in AEW, we're actually going to see the real person with a mic in her hand for the first time. And I know you're saying, oh, they shouldn't be taking shots and blah, 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 but they're doing it to super serve that audience. AEW has positioned itself as an alternative. People who are watching WWE and are trying to watch something different than. So why not, validate those people's opinions and get that cheap pop, if you will. And now let's get to the business at hand. I assume we're going to see something like that, and then she'll challenge somebody, and then she'll show what we all know she's great at, which is being a damn good wrestler when the bell rings.
Yeah, and just like everything else that we've seen out of AEW, a week later it won't matter because it's not going to grow the audience and all of this hype and all the anticipation and the big super surprise or whatever it is. When it's all said and done, all 3 of Tony's shows combined won't equal one Monday Night Raw rating.
So in your opinion, Okada nor Mercedes Mone are needle movers for AEW?
There's nothing going to be a needle mover in AEW until there's a drastic creative change, until there's a drastic strategic creative change in approach. Nothing is going to change. How many times do we have to see it till we go, that's not going to work? I mean,
so wait, are you saying
somebody comes over from WWE that's a big star? Oh my gosh, it's going to be a needle mover. Fucking move the needle just a little further to the dead side of the equation.
So, in your opinion, you think the biggest acquisition rather that WWE or AEW rather could make? Let me start that sentence again. In your opinion, you think the biggest acquisition AEW could make is someone like an Ed Koskey or something like that? Like
that would be a huge move.
Yeah.
That would be a massive move in the right direction. My opinion would change at that point, provided Tony has the personal makeup to let Ed do what if it was Ed, to let Ed or somebody like him do what they're capable of doing, and Tony go do something else. Don't get involved unless you just want to sit and listen and learn. Don't even go near the process. Tony is horrible at creative, exacerbated only by the fact that he thinks he's good at it because he's been a fan since he was 14. That makes him even more dangerous. But if someone like an Ed Koskey were able to come in, that's that gigantic strategic creative change that I'm talking about. My feelings would be vastly different than they are currently.